When the evening light fades, this quiet village undergoes a grim transformation. The setting sun marks the beginning of a period of total paranoia, where every shadow against a garden wall feels like a potential intruder. An unseen entity has begun stalking the streets, following a bizarre and terrifying pattern. It bypasses locks and bolts to find sleeping women, then uses a blade to steal only one thing: their long hair. The fear became tangible with the attack on a woman named Mina. She woke in the dark to the sensation of her hair being severed, catching only a glimpse of a figure dissolving into the blackness of the room. Terrified by the violation, Mina and her husband fled their home immediately. They ran into the midnight air, convinced that staying another second meant risking their lives to whatever was hiding in the corners. By the time the sun rose, news of the assault moved through every house. The realization that a locked door offered no protection against this hair-cutting witch sent the community into a state of panic. The villagers were left in a complete information vacuum. No one could explain how the intruder moved through solid walls, or why she was collecting these trophies, leaving every household waiting for an inevitable next strike. Until the mechanics of the attacks are understood, the village remains frozen. Every woman sleeping at night is a target, and every house is a potential crime scene. While the village panicked, a man named Bhima rushed home to check on his wife, Suman. He found her perfectly safe, but she was sitting in her room, quietly and obsessively brushing her hair. As he watched her, Bhima noticed something unsettling. Suman's hair appeared to be growing at a rate that defied any natural explanation. This timeline shows how the village-wide terror mirrors the changes inside Bhima's home. Every time a new victim was struck, Suman's hair length surged upward in near-perfect correlation. The pattern became undeniable. As a midnight scream echoed from a neighboring house, Suman's hair spiked, gaining inches in a single moment of violence. When Bhima reached for his wife in the middle of that same night, he found her side of the bed empty. She was gone exactly when the attacker was most active. When she eventually returned, she was eerily unbothered by the chaos outside. She spent the rest of the night admiring her reflection and playing with her unnaturally long tresses, seemingly feeding off the panic of her neighbors. The impossible growth, the missing hours, and her sudden joy led Bhima to a devastating realization. The entity the village was hunting was likely sleeping under his own roof. Bhima sought out his friend Mohan, describing the bizarre connection between the attacks and his wife's changing appearance. He needed a witness to help him confirm the unthinkable, so they decided to watch and wait. Bhima would pretend to be asleep and wait for Suman to move, while Mohan stayed hidden nearby, ready to follow her into the night. As the village went quiet, the plan went into motion. Bhima lay still, watching through half-closed eyes as Suman rose from the bed and slipped out into the darkness. The two men trailed her through the winding alleys. They kept their distance, moving from shadow to shadow as they tracked her deeper into the village. Under the pale moonlight, they saw her true form. Suman's silhouette twisted and stretched, giving way to the hunched, predatory frame of the hair-cutting witch. They watched as she selected a target, slipping through the window of a nearby home, where another woman lay sleeping. Now the time for watching was over. Bhima and Mohan had seen enough to know that if they didn't act immediately, another neighbor would lose more than just their hair. Bhima and Mohan burst into the room, confronting the witch just as she prepared to sever her next trophy. The entity mocked them, revealing that she was on the verge of a breakthrough. She told them she needed only one more plait to reach a threshold of power that would make her completely unstoppable. The men were at a massive disadvantage. They couldn't hope to match her supernatural strength with weapons alone. They needed to find a way to strike at the source of her magic. This diagram shows the plan to bypass her defenses. By keeping the witch's focus entirely on one side, they exploited a blind spot. Bhima used emotional pleas to keep her gaze fixed on him, while Mohan moved silently to reach the area behind her back. With a single swift motion, Mohan struck. He didn't aim for the witch herself, but for her own massive supernatural braid, severing it at the root. The reaction was instantaneous. As her hair hit the floor, the dark energy she hoarded violently burst and dissipated, shattering the spell over the village. Sumin was left on the floor, released from the entity's influence and completely unharmed, as the nightmare that had gripped the village finally lifted. The mystery was solved by observing the nature of the entity's obsession. The very thing the witch hoarded to build her power, the hair itself, turned out to be the only thing that could destroy her.